America isn't falling apart because of racism or religion. It's falling apart because stupid people keep getting airtime. You guys gotta check this video out.
Had visit. I would like to know what he charges for his appraisal services. But Kellyanne, I got to tell you, this seemed classic Donald Trump, that visit on site there.
It was. You know, in 2015, he gave a speech here in New York where he talked about the old Commodore Hotel and what he did with it near Grand Central Station, and how he bought it. Nobody else wanted it, and how he revitalized it. And it just reminded Americans why they wanted an outsider, a builder, an outsider to the political system, but somebody who had been successful. They
Exactly. Somebody that's an outsider to this country, but makes it better, right? He buys the broken building and he flips it. That's called results, and that's exactly what he's doing to this country. He sees that it's broken and he's just fixing it for us Americans that really care about this country, true patriots. Let's keep going, guys. Make sure you're liking the video. I'm sorry to pause so early.
can see, literally see the fruits of his labor. At the time, I think there were 17 buildings just in the city with his name on it. But this is classic Trump in a couple of ways. The media has been covering the wrong story. Will he fire Powell? Will he not? Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, said Powell will leave in May when he's supposed to. I know firsthand, the worst thing Donald Trump can do to you is not fire you. The worst thing he could do to you is keep you on the job and make you irrelevant. And that's what I think is going on here. Actually, Jay Powell just had his Michael Dukakis moment, keeping that hard hat on just a little too long. But seriously speaking, why is this important? Because it's our money.
I'm sorry, guys. I just gotta say it. Trump doesn't fire clowns. He sits there, he lets you keep working your job until you turn into the actual joke. Let's keep going.
This isn't Donald Trump or anybody, any other builder, Shannon, building a hotel, building a condo building that then you can choose as an individual to buy or to have a room in the hotel or not. This is our money. And this is a place that lost $100 billion already. So the idea that you would have, as President Trump has said, the Taj Mahal in the mall is odious to a lot of Americans who are doing what they can to dig out of the 4-year inflation we had under Biden.
Yeah, Jesse, especially for people who say this is the guy who's supposed to be managing the nation's pocketbook. And yet these buildings are way over where they were supposed to be.
It's like when your wife goes shopping and you come home unexpectedly and you see piles and piles of bags in the bedroom. Oh, honey, what do we have here? You're going to return it, right? It's all getting returned, right? He owned Powell today. And you're right. Now this guy is just going to dangle out for the rest of the months that he has to serve there. He's doing the same thing with the colleges. So we give colleges billions of dollars every year. For the first time, he grabs a wad of cash in front of the country and said, before I give you this money, there's a few things I'd like to do. Are you listening? All right. I want you to be nicer to Jews. And I want you to drop DEI, and I want you to get the men out of the women's locker rooms. Can you do that for me? Can you do that for me? And so all of a sudden, all of the lawyers got real tough for the colleges and said, no, we're going to fight. And then they just billed for about 2 months. Bill, got paid. And then they settled. And they settled for what? I think we give Columbia 1 point.
So really quick, guys, did you really just hear that? Trump said what every American or everybody that you know is scared to whisper. This is why the media hates him. He just doesn't bend. He's himself. Let's keep going.
$3 billion a year. They have to have that money. And he's doing it with other countries, too. We're paying them. They're making money here. He shuts the door with the tariffs just a little bit and said, hey, by the way, we'd like to sell you about $8 billion of rice. They love rice in Japan. We'd like to get trucks and cars in Japan. Can you do that for us? Yeah, you can. And you're going to get hit with the 10, 15% tariffs. And you're going to buy 100 Boeing jets. Can you do that? Thank you. And he's doing that with every country. It's amazing what you can do when you delay payment. And I've started to do that with Jesse Jr. He gets a $5 allowance weekly, and he's got chores. So yesterday I said, and I dangled it, because once they see it, they get really motivated. I say, you, as a part of your chores now, you are going to polish the silver. And he said, I don't know how to polish silver. I said, well, you're going to learn. And what do you know? The guy has the silver polished, the rag, and he's working the candelabra over in the dining room. That's how you get things done.
Jessica,
Exactly.
he's living a different life than we are.
Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, the kids
Definitely.
are polishing
Well,
the
his
candelabra.
marriage is from 1950, and the toddler story is completely made
The
up.
candelabra. But Jessica, I want to ask you, which of the things on President Trump's victory list would you like to tackle first? Because we do have the nets on the tariffs. We do have the great numbers on the border. Not only that they're down, but also the poll numbers show that people are very happy with him about border security. He's got the head of NATO calling him daddy and praising him for getting the spending up with all of those nations. We want you to pick.
It'll be zaddy soon, I'm sure. On the trade front with the Japan deal, the headline I was paying attention to was that the United Auto Workers and the Big Three opposed the Japan trade deal. And I went through and I collected some recent headlines just to give a tasting of what the golden age actually means on the ground. General Motors' profit shrank 35% last quarter. President Trump's tariffs are costing Jeep maker Stellantis hundreds of millions of dollars. The cost of beef is at its highest level since the 1980s. And from today, independents drive Trump's approval to 37%, a second-term low. So the only president to beat him is himself from the first term. Border security, sure, he still has a positive approval rating on that, but not on immigration as a whole, because lo and behold, people don't want grandmas and people who've been here for decades rounded up. They don't want people sent to CCOT. He's lost 40 points with Gen Zs, so there goes that narrative that suddenly young people are conservatives. Independents approval down to 27%. But the cherry on top, I think, is that 70% say that Trump hasn't done enough to lower prices. And that is the reason that he won this election. It was an election about the economy where people had said inflation is too high. I go to the grocery.
So prices are out of control under Biden. Trump walks in, inflation starts dropping. People are still crying. Can we just be serious for a moment? Everybody was wondering what's up with the Epstein files, what's up with this? No one was worried about the Epstein files when Biden was in office. I think if we would have mentioned it back then, he probably would have got impeached. Biden probably would have got impeached, right? He wouldn't have reopened this case if he was involved. People just got to do a little bit of research and stop listening to this mainstream media that's just messing with your head. All they do is fearmonger. And Jessica Tarlov, she's one of those people that just want to see you just run around like a chicken with your head cut off. Honestly.
Store and I see what's going on. And I was obviously on this panel throughout the election, and you guys said to me repeatedly, stop telling people what their real life looks like. Stop telling people what their real life looks like applies right now. They are saying that Donald Trump is too focused on his hard hat mission or his crypto, whatever, and get the prices down.
Well, I will say that the polling also shows people do think things are moving in the right direction. At least the numbers in our Fox News polling shows that their personal situation they perceive as being improving. But you got a laundry list.
She's right. He hasn't done enough to lower prices. Compared to whom? This is, when I hear about Trump's polls, it reminds me of an old saying. When I'm being chased by a hungry panelist from The View, I don't have to outrun her. I just have to outrun you. So when they bring up these polls, they're meaningless without a comparison. So who are they comparing it to? Not to Trump, but to the alternative. Every poll says the same thing. If the election were held today, he would still clobber the Democrats. Some ways, even more. It is true. And by the way, you can keep saying he's round.
So guys, if you watched the video this long, I wanted to ask you guys, if the election was held, today is July 28th. If the election was held on July 30th, do you think Trump would have won? Do you think he still would win? Do you think he would beat AOC? Do you think he would beat Gavin Newsom? Everybody's like, oh, he can't beat a man. Do you think he will beat Gavin Newsom? I just want to know what the comments will say.
Up grandma, but those have been hoaxes, and every time you bring up that thing, it implodes, and then we have to clean up the mess. It's easy to avoid a drop in polls, Jessica. Just don't do the stuff that upsets the media. Trump won't do that. Trump leans right into the things that he promised. So people can be critical, but at the same time, they go, no, I voted for him. You can call this a hot streak, but that requires luck. This isn't luck. He set this stuff up in advance. You know, he's posting a win every day, the same way a gardener plants 100 flowers so they bloom one after the other. And the Democrats are like going, how did this happen? How did this? Oh, wait, he has a new thing. He has a new thing. That's what's called
That right there is exactly it. Trump's playing the long game, and the Democrats are surprised when Trump's little seed turns into a very big tree. Let's keep going, guys. Greg Gutfeld is doing it right now.
Preparation. The Democrats don't understand this. The Democrats think success is taking your money and throwing it there and then patting themselves on the back. He's actually making stuff happen, right? You know what's amazing about all this stuff? The stuff we miss. Olympics will not allow trans athletes to participate. Do you think that they would have had the stones to do that if Kamala Harris was president? No, we'd have trans tax cuts right now. Now, because of Trump, we have 3 prominent medical centers in California who are no longer doing trans surgeries on kids. And why? Because Trump stood up and he shared the risk and he spoke truth to power to the deranged activists that had intimidated the Democrats for so long. Lastly, today, an executive order to remove vagrants, homeless and drug addicts from the streets of America and to place the mentally ill and the criminally deranged into treatment centers. The reason why I bring this up is because it's amazing for people who live in the city. There are going to be a lot of liberals who are going to say how terrible Trump is. But when they're on the subway, they're going to be thanking God for him.
Exactly.
Just the way they do when they talk about illegal immigration and then they drive home and they see that it's much cleaner and much better. They're going to pretend that he's so intolerant and how mean this is. But you're not going to stop this because you need this. You need this.
Exactly.
These were just, and look at AI yesterday. AI, he understands we have to be there first. If we're not, it's over.
You don't have to worship Trump, but if you hate Trump more than you love your country's progress, you actually might be the problem. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.